Hey everyone, Brian Christian here with Father of Glory Global Ministries, and I have with me Darryl Thomas, an amazing brother that we recently connected with through Daniel Somerville, who's also another brother that we love in Canada. And we decided to do a video, and let me just say up front, this ain't a video to promote a ministry or to show off our stuff or any of that, and I know people do that. This is a video to share what happened this last weekend at the Fam Bam Communion Reunion. And Darryl, he's like the cherry on the top because what happened with Darryl blew us all away. And when you got up and you shared, brother, that one day, and it took you a while to get it out, I'm going to tell you that you just standing there, we all heard you. It was the only time I've seen somebody not say anything like that, and I knew everything they were saying. It was just amazing, and everybody was so impacted by your life, Darryl, and what you carried to the gathering, as well as what you shared with one another. When you got up, it just exploded. Not just locally, it exploded all over the airwaves. People were touched by who you are and what you shared all over, not just America, but multiple nations. And so I want you to just share whatever is on your heart. What did you get? What was going on with you prior to getting there, and what happened there, and what's happening since, so that people can enter in to what you encountered, and you can pour out on them the same love that you experienced. So I'm just going to release you to just share. Why don't we start with what led up to you coming and what was going on in your life?
It's definitely been a long journey. I mean, it's been a long journey, a long journey, a long journey. I've been through the ringers, the mud, you know, a lot of abuse, divorces, abandonment, rejection. I mean, I hated myself. I had it all. I mean, afraid, fear to the core of everything. Fear, constant fear. That was just my life. And then, I guess I was looking for love. I was looking for it. I was looking for it. So I ended up in marriages looking for love, and didn't quite work out because I was broken. I was broken. I was broken. So I'm looking. They're looking for something, and I don't have it to give. So I understand. I understand. But it's just been rough, man. Cause I've God came to me. When I was a little kid. I had dreams. He came to me. So it's like he already captured me. So then, you go to church. Yeah, you go to church and you hear about the hell and fire, and all that did was kind of, since he came to me, and now I feel like I'm coming to him in the building with his people, and then I hear that, oh, hellfire brimstone, it kind of stirred up the fear inside of me. So now I'm accepting God. I go to the front. I get baptized because I don't want to go to hell. I mean, I was so afraid of hell. I remember going to my mother and I asked her, I said, I remember talking to her on the steps, was that true what he said? That I can go to hell? I mean, I just felt it. And I think I was like 5 or 6. And she said, yeah. And I said, I don't want to go to hell. So it was just my relationship with God, even though he came to me, he drew me by himself. When I got into the church, it was back afraid. So I had to try to do everything right. And I didn't even, and somehow I just knew that it wasn't right. So I didn't even try to do anything right. I just felt the pain and the rejection from knowing that I can't do it right, and knowing that that was the word, you got to be right. And I just knew I couldn't be right. And so I didn't even try much because I knew I couldn't. I was looking for love. I was looking for the God that came to me. So that was my church story. It was just one looking for a God in the church and met nothing but rejection and pain. It just stirred up everything that I had inside of me. And that is what made my road the roughest. Cause
Can I say
the
something? I just want to say something as you're sharing. The hell doctrine is the worst doctrine because it twists the whole image of who God is. God is no longer unconditional love. People are giving their life to God because they don't want to go to hell.
yeah
It's not, they're not giving their life to God because God loves them, but because they don't want to go to hell. And that so twists who we are that all we're going to do is perform to measure up, walk on eggshells. If the moment we mess up, we're wondering if God's going to throw us to hell. And at 5 years old, that is ritual abuse. Now the people in the church, they don't know. They're just following in with what they were taught. But it is a devastating doctrine of demons. That's when it says in the New Testament to stay away from doctrines of demons. It was pretty much saying stay away from all of this twisted theology that is focused on demons and devils and hell and punishment and retribution and all of these types of things. And so your experience, even though you went through hard things in life, at the very foundation of this was the way you viewed God based on how you were taught about this angry, wrathful God that you better measure up or you're going to go to hell. And it was
yep
just fear based, right?
yep
So how did you end up finding out about coming to this gathering, and how did all that transpire? I mean, how do we get connected? I want to know what the Father did to connect that, and were you already coming out of that doctrine of hell before you came, when you connected with? I'm sure Daniel had some awesome influence of bringing to you some unconditional love and who the Father really was. Did you have any influence before Daniel, or what led up to you coming out of that mentality of the angry, wrathful God?
so yeah, I guess I would say it has always started off with experiencing God. Like it's like even through dreams or whatever he would do that was so fantastic. It kept something alive in me that said God cannot be like this. He just can't be like that. But it's just if I think hell isn't real, then right, you know. So so I didn't even want to even, I couldn't touch hell. Okay, maybe one day he'll save everybody so we wouldn't go to hell. That was the best thing I can think of about the hell thing, because this God is pretty cool, you know. So that just started something's different about what I'm hearing. It just started something is different about what I'm hearing. So I went
Now,
on the search.
how long ago was that about?
I would say this started maybe 2018.
Can I tell you that that's right around the time everybody began to wake up all over the world?
Wow.
Right around, we all started waking up at the same time without anybody trying to convince us. It was in the spirit. It was time. So you woke up with everyone worldwide that's been waking up. Kathy just put on there. Let me just put this up there. Yep, 2018 for me too. And then
Wow.
Doug, 2018. Look, we
Oh,
got another yep right there. I mean,
wow.
it's for all of us. So you're right on target, man. Continue. Tell us how you went from there in 2018 to this last weekend.
Yeah, so 2018, from that point on, I remember, like, I'm one who says, can you hear from God? I don't know. I don't know. I just know I just happen to be in the right place at the right time, doing the right things. I don't know. But this, what I did hear clear was, I've given you enough to come this far, but it's not going to take you the rest of the way. And that was in 2018. And from that point, it kind of went dark and bad and crazy. Ooh, it went crazy. Yeah. Oh,
So you were deconstructing from that point. People don't understand that just because you begin to question hell doesn't mean you've entered freedom yet. A
mm-hmm.
lot of times, what happens is you go through the dark night of the soul, and that is your mind begins to question everything you've heard. Now you got to everything becomes questioned because the rug's being pulled out from underneath you of everything you've established your beliefs on. And so there comes you come into this deconstructive season where you're afraid to believe anything new because
Yeah.
if the old thing you believed isn't correct, how do you know the new thing you're believing isn't correct? And are you going to your mind's going, why should I invest in more years of something that's going to be a lie to me later on? And so there's this fear of stepping out of what's been known because at least it's been known, it's become familiar, and but now it's like starting all over. And so you begin to deconstruct, and all of this stuff had to come out of your mind, and so thus everything went dark. Does that feel about right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Keep going, brother. Tell me. Keep going.
Now, a little bit before that time, I started sneaking off, not telling anyone in the church or anyone out around. I was sneaking off and listening to the crazy people, Kirby, Delano, Nancy Cohen, Mike Parsons, and it drew me in. I knew it was true. Couldn't tell anyone yet, but I knew it was true, you know. And there was a lot of experiences that I had. I mean, dreams and visions and things like that. That was like, it was like, whoa, like something is up, and I don't know what it is, but something is up. So and then I entered the dark night of the soul. Oh my God, it went crazy. It was just no good, no fun. I mean, yeah, doubting everything. I mean, I couldn't get a job. I couldn't get anything. Then I was still in church. So now the pastor is just killing me every time I'm going to church. Every word is just hitting me like condemning me, crushing me, killing me. It was just so rough, man. It was just so rough. It was rough because it's like it was only happening to me. So that makes you think that something's wrong with you. And I've had demons every week at some churches. You know, they would see me fall on the ground and shake, rattle, and roll, and cast out demons, and it hurted me. It really did. It,
So they couldn't recognize the Holy Spirit in which you were manifesting the presence and you were experiencing the presence of God. They couldn't tell the difference between the Holy Spirit because they were so focused on demons that that's where their mind would go. And so that's all they could experience because that's what they expected to experience, right?
yep.
Yeah.
And it hurted me so, man. It hurted me so. I would I mean, yeah, it crushed me because it's like, God, you were with me. I've seen you. You've came to me. You know, I have demons. It's just I don't know. It was the worst ever. And I because he came to me and he drew me so early that I was just addicted to him. So to tell me that God don't love me, or to tell me that if I did these things, God would do these, or if I did this, He wouldn't love me, or it crushed me. Now everybody else was cool. I was devastated. And I stayed like that for years, searching, looking for this God, searching, 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 but not knowing the whole time it was a setup, you know? It was a set up. Oh my God. It was the greatest set up. Because he made me yearn for so much. He made me yearn for love, for others. He made me yearn for more for others. He made me look into others and see them and say, if the pastor's not saying anything that's helping me out, then I know that they're not getting help. And it hurted. So I was always in and out the church. I love the presence. I love the people, but I hated a lot of the messages. I used to always sit in the back. I mean, and yet I'm still broken. Remember this. So I didn't want to deal with the people anyway because I was afraid of rejection. I was just afraid of all of it. It was just how it went. But
I don't think you would even need to be broken to be afraid of being rejected, because they were, most churches are so self-rejected because they have this twisted belief about God that there is no liberty for you to come and be yourself. You don't feel like you're home. I know
no,
for me, when I would walk into a church, I'd have to hide who I was. I'd have
yep,
to keep who I was to myself, just so I didn't get rejected or attacked, or people think I have a demon. Most churches think that discerning of spirits is about discerning demons rather than discerning Christ in one another. And
mm,
really, the heart of true discernment is where I know no man after the flesh, but I see everyone as in Christ, and I see the beauty of who they are, and that I can be home, and I can have that love connection with a stranger,
yeah.
because we've been one the whole time. And so then you connected with Daniel Somerville. How long ago did you connect with him?
All of that happened at the beginning of this year. Cause now I'm searching. I'm looking at other things. I'm looking at everything now. So what drew me was I was going through some videos and there was somebody speaking in what they call the light language. So I'm curious, so I go into the video, and when I hear the light language, I hear the same tongues that I speak in, or I feel the same power and love of God that I've experienced. So it's like this light language. So I was engaged. I listened to him and I just knew it. I'm like, I'm telling you it's something to this thing. It's something I don't know what it is. So that led me to okay, I know someone has a video on like light language versus speaking in tongues. And it was Daniel Somerville. Oh man. And that was the so he explained it so well, and I knew it. And at that point, I knew the truth. And that's when he got into, because we're all one. We're all this. It's no separation. It's none of this. And I just, as I was listening to it, I'm like, yeah, yeah, that's it. I knew 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 it. My God, I knew it, man. Oh, whew. So I tuned into a couple videos. He went onto the soul splits. I resonated with that because, like I said, all I know is brokenness. I never knew love. And I'm so thankful that I didn't. Now that I look back at it.
The contrast is beautiful. People don't understand that, when it says fear has torment, but perfect love casts out fear, it's not an overnight thing. If you notice the word cast out, it's not a love coming up and walking fear out. It's a love casting it out. It's a violent act of confrontation. And so if you've ever noticed, you ever try to love somebody who's in fear, the fear protects itself by torment. It triggers the torment in which the person that's in fear sees the person that's trying to love them as a trick, as a string attached, as control, and then the torment comes out, and then that person with fear projects to try to push them away. But love can't be pushed away. Love will keep chasing you down and pursuing you until that fear is is extracted by force, the force of unconditional love, in which it's like you're in this. And that's why I think you're saying, I'm so glad I didn't find it till I found it, because you had to have so much contrast in your life for love's reality to carry the full expression of who you are, so that it would burn an image in your heart and it would just set you free completely without any questions asked. Does that feel about right?
Absolutely. Ooh. Oh man. So, so meeting up with Daniel, man, he fell in love with me. You know, he told me like, man, it's like you my brothers. We won. It's like I knew you. It's like, but I couldn't receive it. I'm like, okay, all right, cool. You know, all right, let's do a session. You know, because I'm just looking for help. I'm looking to get out the misery. But man, we do our first session and it's just beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Oh, it was it. It was the beginning of the rest of my days, because he just confirmed. I mean, he spoke everything that was ever in my heart. I mean, it just came out and I saw it clear, and he was saying so much that it's funny, he was saying so much that I already knew. And it's like, I guess it was those whispers that said, nah, I love you. I got you. No, it's not because you're bad. I'm doing something. And it's like, I would hear them things, but the condemnation drove it out, drove it away. But he was a voice to me that just confirmed it. And after I kind of shamefully told him about, yeah, I'm married. Yeah, my third marriage, He was like, dude, that's nothing. Oh my God. And he said, you should meet a guy named Brian Christian. Man, he's been married 5 times. I'm like, what? They allow that? And he's like you? He's like you? And what? So at first he was like, I can connect you with him. But I'm looking for help fast, speedy. So as soon as I got off the call, I'm on YouTube, like, who is this guy? And then, man, it was over from there. It's like the words he was speaking, I've heard them before. I knew they were true without knowing anything. I just knew it was true. And I loved it. And I loved it. And I loved it. I loved it.
Let me interrupt you for a second. I'm muting for all those that are watching, I'm muting my mic while he's sharing because we're having a little echo issue. But yes, all the times I've been married, I used to be so ashamed. I'd want to hide. I would even pray that God would make everybody forget that I was married before. This is in previous relationships. And so I'd do a meeting and they'd be like, did your wife change her look, or did she lose? Oh yeah. Yep. Did you like her new hair? Because I was so ashamed. This went on for years. And again, I'm not encouraging people, you gotta be divorced several times in order to get this realm. But for me, I was so broken that me and whoever I would get with, we would just fight. It would last like a year. It would be over. So I could never make it past a year of marriage. And you know what happens when you get a divorce, your whole ministry's over, everybody leaves you, you're condemned, and then I'd have to wait, and then I'd get married, and I'd start all over again. And but I can say now that I've been with Shauna for 14 years, over 14 years, married, and we have an amazing marriage. And so why did the Father walk me through that? Because He wanted me to be a revelation of grace so that condemnation and shame could be broken off of those who have believed the wrong perception of God and continually sabotage because we're trying to perform. There's no grace there. How can we see anything last if we're not operating in that grace, right? And so I'm glad that my journey, whatever I walked through, made you feel safe enough to, embrace what the Father had through me for you. And I look at that as an asset. I have no regret. So if I had to walk through that, brother, just so that you could know you're home, it's worth it. It's worth it for me. It's worth it for me. So you met Daniel Somerville a year ago, and I had connected with Daniel a couple of years ago, and he's an amazing brother, and so he said you need to go to this Bam Bam thing, and he ended up taking care of your airfare to get you there, and so there was no way you were all set to go,
Yeah.
and you showed up, and when I met you, I didn't even know you were the Darryl he was talking about at first. For some, I'm trying to get this tent set up. I'm still fixing it. You come into the tent, and you're just standing there, and man, the Spirit of the Lord just broke open. And there was everything. It was like everything everybody was saying was like you already knew it, and you knew it with Daniel Somerville, and it's because it's already in you. Everything that we have been speaking to you and that Daniel spoke to you, that witnessed to who you truly are and who the Father really is, that was already in you. You came from eternity with all of it, right? What does it say? 1 John 2:20. You have an unction from the Holy One, and you know all things. It's already in you. God packed your lunch, man. But it took all those that were written in your book before time to meet in time at the right time to help you remember who you've always been. And so it wasn't like you needed to learn something new. You just needed to remember what had always been.
Yeah.
And it took that atmosphere of love and acceptance for you to hear who you've always been. That's crazy. So tell us what happened during the gathering. I mean, it obviously was building for you through the whole gathering until you just finally just exploded. And so tell us a little bit about that.
Now, okay, let me start with when I got to the airport. I went to the place and I got my ticket. I figured out how to do it because I haven't flown in a while. So I go to the airport, I get my ticket. So I'm standing in line, not knowing I don't even have to be standing in this line. But I'm standing in line, I'm next. Not actually next because the man next to me is next. But he says, you go. So I go. And I asked the lady, I'm like, am I doing everything right? She said, oh, yeah, you got it. You're fine. But I look at her name, and her name is Redeemed. So I said, is that your name? She said, yeah, your name is Redeemed. She said, yeah. I'm like, oh, wow. Okay, God. Oh, my God. So now I'm in the plane. Everything's good. And I get to the airport. I'm picked up by Heather and Tracy. Man. And they just made me feel so comfortable. And I knew, and this is what I do know. This is what I do know. Through all my traveling as a timid person, shy, I wasn't talking to a lot of people, but those who, it was something, some people can actually come to me and there's something I'm so comfortable. And I've noticed that throughout my life. Not everyone, but certain people can come next to me and I'm just so comfortable. And I always knew that it was because of the presence of God. So I felt that as soon as I got in the car. I mean, oh my God. It's like they just prepared me for everything. I mean, they just prepared me for everything. It's like they prophesied, told me what was going to happen, told me why I was coming. And it was just, I just felt so comfortable. I just was already amazed. And I told her, I'm like, it's starting already, huh? She was like, yeah. Oh my God. I mean, starting already. What a freaking gift, man. It was like, I still say, why, God? Why did you do this for me? Why did you do this for me? But yeah, so the ride there was just full. And I get out and I go into the tent. And here's Brian Christian. You know, I mean, I don't know. I guess it's weird to me because I'm just me. So I think everybody who carry things like this, you guys are superstars to me. You guys are like the greatest thing ever. So I just saw Brian Christian. I'm kind of like, what in the world? But what I noticed is that same comfortability. Now I thought I would be nervous because I am that guy. I don't talk a lot to people I don't know. I just don't. I thought I would be like that, but man, it was just something about him that was so. It's like he was. Yes, thank you, Father. It reminded me of like when they say about Paul. He said like my letters are when my letters. You said my letters are so strong, but when you see me, I'm weak. You know, you see me like he's weak. But it's like it was that he was so, that humble, genuine, down to earth. I just knew it, and he was just talking. Every word was just so. It's like I saw it clear. It's like every word was just clear, clear. It's like I'm just looking at him like, duh, duh, duh. Like, of course, yeah, of course, of course. It was just, a, and I guess you said the spirit broke out, but I felt it was just so. Everything was just. Even looking around the tent, it was like it's just beautiful. It's just so much light. It was just so much light, so much light. And look, let me back up for 1 second, because before we got to the tent, we stopped at an Airbnb and we went in to visit. And it was. Let me just be transparent and honest the whole way. It was good because I'm hearing. I forget her name, but she's talking about the, you know, manifesting, and it's all good. I'm engaged. I'm just like I'm there. It's like okay, okay, and then who walks in? Grace, Shauna, AJ, and it was an explosion. Soon as they walked in the door.
Now
And
that
that,
was that at the Airbnb?
yes, that was at the
I
Airbnb.
saw some pictures of that. I wish I had them available. I could put them up. But I'm pretty sure you were pretty much just hung over, and they're laying hands on you. I mean, they're just tackling you with the love of the Father and just prophesying. And do you know? No, here's the thing. Nobody. I don't care how prophetic you are. You don't just prophesy. It has to be pulled out. And I don't. It seemed like a lot of people were instantly just flowing out over you because of who you are. See, you ask why me? Why me? Why not you? You know, remember when Paul said at the appointed time when Christ is revealed. You know, everything you walk through became the backdrop for the forefront of the expression of God's love to manifest. It was perfect. It wasn't that anybody was more anointed. None of us are superstars. You know, you know what I mean? But we're all an extension of you, man. We're all you coming to you with who you really are. And we all agree to this in eternity. You gave us each a scroll, brother. You gave us each a scroll. And you said, help me remember me when we meet again. And so we simply took that which was of you, journeyed it out, and brought it to you at the appointed time so that love could manifest. And what does it do? It breaks off of us the need to measure up, and we see the goodness of God. That no matter what we were thinking, the whole journey, and how am I going to get there? How is this going to work out? Doesn't matter. By the time it was time, everything that you needed was already walked out for you through one another. And it's just beautiful. Keep going, brother.
So yeah, the Airbnb, that was a trip. Oh man. So now I get back in the car, I'm just like, what is going on, man? I'm just like, oh my God. So I get to the tent, Brian Christian there. I feel the peace and the love, man. It's like now that I look back at it since I'm home, I wasn't, because now that I listen to some of the replays, I hear you say love so many times, but I wasn't hearing it. It's like I wasn't hearing it. It's like I didn't know that it was a love fest, but I was in it, and that's kind of weird. I didn't know. It was like I didn't know. I was just meeting the faces. I'm still feeling the shyness, the timidness, but this everybody made. Oh my goodness, they made me feel so special. I mean, I and that and that was the biggest thing. That was the biggest thing. And I like I said, it was while it was even happening, I still couldn't recognize it happening. It's like, oh, you know, they're talking to me. Oh, yeah, and I'm just thinking like, okay, until they're done talking, I could go move around some more. Like okay. So it was happening, and I still wasn't recognizing what was happening.
That's normal, actually, because see, you're a giver of love. You've been a giver. You were a giver of love before you ever connected here. That's who you are. But you were never put in a position to receive it. You were receiving it from the Father as much as you could, but you weren't able to receive it through other people because you had to kind of hide where you were at in church, right?
Yeah.
So now you're in this atmosphere, and there was a time in my life where I was always given love, but I knew where people were at, they couldn't give it back.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it was almost like I was throwing love over the walls of my heart at people. But the gates of my New Jerusalem couldn't be opened because I was thought people would reject and crucify me. So I remember the first time I was being loved, I had a hard time. I'm like, what is this? Is this real? I felt like embarrassed. And it was all the stuff, all the pain was coming up. I didn't know that's what it was. It was all the pain. So, I don't think any of us recognize love when it's first being poured out. We think this is weird. What is this? This is foreign. I don't even know what to say or do. And so I completely get that, man. And so then how did you transition? When did you see what was happening?
I would say I don't know what night that it was, but it definitely was the night that. So funny how God works. We made a circle inside of the tent at the end. The atmosphere was so beautiful, And Shauna came by. She put her hands on me, and it was over. The spirit just took me. I was down for the count. And I've never. I've experienced that before, but it was very different. It was different. And you walked past. You said, "Bring that guy up here," and laid hands on me. You gave me a mantle. You gave me the grace, and it was wonderful. It was so beautiful. Now, see, this is my personality still. As I'm on the ground, laid out, people think you're going into visions and trance. Well, not me. I'm on the ground like, oh my God, is people staring at me? Like, are they looking at me? Like, what is going on? Like, should I get up now? And every time I would try to get up, like I'm trying to get up. I'm like, okay, try it now. Get up. I can't get up. Oh my God. Oh God. I hope all eyes are not on me. Like, I'm like, that's what happens to me when I'm on the floor. I'm still in my head, like, what is going on, God? But to me, that was that was the beginning of that was it. Because when I went back to my hotel, I met a young lady and I ended up talking to her for 3 hours. She breaking out crying. This has never happened to me a day in my life. I'm just so full of the love. I just couldn't do nothing but love. I just couldn't do nothing but love. Now I understand what Paul was saying when he said the love of God constrains me. Now I read it so many times. I was so jealous of Paul. Like, I wanted to constrain me. Where is it at for me? But when it comes, when the true love of God, you sometimes you think you loving, you think it's the love of God, but I guess it's just you doing the best you can do to be good, and to give love the best that you know how, you know, until the love of God just like shoom, shoom, shoom.
You know what I think is interesting is you're on the floor, you're not having any visions. There's no intellectual anything needed. And I think a lot of times we think we have to have all these visions and revelations in order to be the very embodiment of love. But it was almost like it really had nothing to do with you being conscious of anything. It had to do with the fact that when you got up off the floor and you went to the hotel, it was just a domino effect that you didn't need understanding. You didn't need to get a diploma to manifest in it, or go to, study this or get that or be taught this. It was an automatic response that when love was poured out and you could no longer, you couldn't get off the floor. You could not move in your own strength because you were arrested by love. You were marked by love. That when you were released from that and ministered to that girl, it was just an automatic, it was your nature. It was about nature. It wasn't about anything you had to obtain, figure out, get 3 steps in. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
didn't need any of that. And that's how fluid this realm is, of just simply being so saturated and saturated with love that the weight of that love, you cannot function in your own effort to measure up. You can't escape it. You couldn't get off the floor. And when you're finally launched into it, you just breathe and inhale and exhale that love. That is amazing.
Yeah. Oof, oof. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah. So yeah, that night, that was definitely where I saw it. That's where it kind of it started for me, where I can see it. Cause the next day, hotel, I get picked up, and I get in the car. The round break out again, I guess, and it's how they treated me. It's like it's like I've never felt like I was somebody. So it's like it's so weird, that I feel like I came to be loved, and I know I needed it so bad. So I guess I came to be loved, and I needed it so bad. So it's like I've never been treated so special. That's the word. I mean, everyone just loved on me like they knew me forever. And it was so freaking easy to kind of exchange that. Where before, it was weird to me if you did that to me. It's like, that's weird to me. Love you, brother. Okay, hey, okay. But man, it was just, and it just kept happening. It kept happening. I mean, I don't know. You guys are so crazy because it just kept happening. Every person. I almost felt embarrassed because it's like, this is a fam bam, not a Darryl bam. Like, it's like, what the freak? I was like, why? I mean, Darryl, you're the one. You're the one. What are you talking about? I'm not no one, And it's just, that did it. You guys loved me so much that I started to love myself. I can't even say started to, like I just consciously said, I didn't even know. It's just like, I guess I don't, okay, how do I love myself? I don't know, because I didn't even see myself. I just saw the faces before me so much because I saw them. I saw me in them. I saw it in every conversation I was having. It was so beautiful. They open up their hearts and I see me in them in me. And it's like the stories that was going forth, I felt like you are me, I am you. And the love that they gave, I don't know if it was just like an assignment from God to just pour so much love on me, but it was coming forth like crazy.
Let me say something here that'll kind of bring some clarity. Loving yourself is not an intellectual thing. It's an epiphany of that which has always been.
Mm.
So, of course, you didn't know how you crossed from point A to point B in loving yourself because it was always there. See, we're veiled to the truth of that interaction. So, what we were experiencing in our togetherness is heaven. That's how it's always been with us as spirit. And we got to watch it come into our awareness in our humanity to begin to engage and reconcile and remove all the questions of who we thought we were. And it's not even thought out. It's just simply brought out. You know, somebody once said, revelation isn't taught, it's caught. And so love is not thought out, it's brought out. And we all have journeyed together. Can you imagine that every one of us that gathered, had we stepped differently in any place, had we had one experience different than what we had in our journey to find each other, it would have been completely different. That's why there's nothing out of alignment. All our sorrows and suffering also added to the timing of the epiphany and the unveiling of love. Everything was divinely set up and precise. The Father is precise. And you know, when you read about the prodigal son, it's always been taught wrong, okay? Prodigal son isn't about somebody who's away from God. You know, the prodigal was with the Father and went out into the world. That's us before time. That's us before time being sent so that we can come into the revelation of the Father at the appointed time. But when the prodigal came to his senses and returned to his father, it says the father saw him afar off and ran to him. Now, I love this because the reason why he ran to him, obviously because he loved him, but he also, the prodigal was wearing slave clothes because he had been working with the pigs. And the father was in a sense, kind of like the mayor of the town there, right? He was the well-known, he was dressed in royalty. All of his kids were dressed in royalty, okay? So when he ran to his son, he was trying to get to his son before the city got to him, before the city condemned him. He was running to prevent accusation and attack on his son. Okay?
Oh, wow.
And when he grabbed him and put a new robe on him, do you know that it was a purple robe, right? And if you study back in those days, they didn't have them. The purple that was used on that robe was not just a purple dye. How many know that if you wear a robe outside long enough, it's going to fade? The longer it's in the sun, the more that purple's going to fade. But the purple that was used on that robe came from a rare beetle that you had to search and find thousands of these beetles and squish them to get a purple dye out of them. And this particular dye that came from a special beetle would actually become richer the more weathered it was by the sun. And so
Wow.
it was almost like the more weathered you are when you wear the Father's affirmation, the more deeper the beauty becomes in that which you have been clothed with of that love. And so you were brought into the party that was always yours, and the journey you were on was to be sent as Jesus was sent so that you could be able to have the capacity of compassion and love because you walked in their shoes. And you see, so that you're like living that story in a whole different side than what we've been taught as a backslider coming back to God. No, it was being sent to be touched by the infirmities of the people so that you could realize what was always yours and what you were always clothed with. And so that time we joined hands was Saturday night, because that was the Saturday night. I remember when I called you out, and then Sunday morning you had already had that interaction with that young woman who the love just poured out. And then you came in Sunday morning and we asked you to get up and share. And you stood there, you couldn't talk for a while. And there wasn't a dry eye in the place. we could feel the love, the undiluted, raw love, almost like this love that you wanted to scream out of yourself, you know, and it was a love that reconciled all things. And as you were up there, I was having a hard time standing there, containing myself, because I was being so arrested by the love that was flowing out of you. It was blowing my mind. And hundreds online, I've gotten reports. You just standing there begin to set people free all over the airwaves. People begin to get hit. And I'm telling you, it wasn't just the gathering. Everything you had walked through, like the kingdom is likened unto a lost coin. You searched the house, but it was there the whole time, right? It's likened unto a field that you're willing to sell anything to buy the treasure hidden in that field. Okay? You were a treasure hidden in a field. And everything you walked through that you thought was nothing, that you thought was a distraction, that you thought was the whole hell doctrine, all of that contributed to that moment of the explosion of love. It all came subject to support that love that broke out of you that Sunday morning, that has affected thousands. Thousands have been affected and woken up because of what was in you, of that love that could only be brought forth because of everything you walked through that looked like loss and lack and suffering and being rejected and left out. It all flipped over as an inheritance for us all to partake of. And that's why the Fam Bam was a Darryl Bam. Because the fam is the family, and you are accepted in the beloved. You are a part of this family. We are one together. You are an amazing man, amazing father, an amazing son, amazing brother. And I am honored to know you. I am honored to be in your life and to be a part of your journey. And I'm getting emotional, so I'm going to hand this back to you. And I want you to just share what happened that Sunday morning when you got up. What was going on with you? I mean, you couldn't talk for a while, but you were just exploding. What was going on inside of you?
What's so funny and I love it so much. I love it so much. So I got up, you know. Now, mind you, I'm used to certain manifestations, but I just don't know what it is. So I get up and, okay, of course, it's hard for me to walk, of course. Know this is going to happen, especially in an atmosphere like this. But when I when I got up and turned around, I saw all the faces. I was just so like enamored by the love that I was seeing in all the faces. I saw the brokenness, but it was so beautiful. I saw it, but it was so beautiful. So I was just standing there, and I couldn't, there was no words to say. I just didn't have it. I didn't have it. But it was just so, I was so amazed by all of your faces. And that's why it's weird to me to hear you guys say what I've done for you when I'm shouting to everyone I know around here what you guys done for me. And now that has to be love, because in love, no one loses. So that is true love, because no one loses. And I'm so, Darryl, you blessed us. You did this. No, you blessed me. You guys changed my life around. So when I was just standing up, then I was feeling waves, and it was just waves and waves. And to me, it was coming from you guys. And I was just feeling it and 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 feeling it. and feeling it and feeling it and feeling it and feeling it. And it was just so beautiful. I mean, that's the only words I could say. It was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. I mean, I just felt the love coming from you guys. I saw the faces. The faces were so bright. It was just, I saw myself in every face. I saw that what I walked through, you guys walked through. So it was so easy for me to, I can't say easy because I wasn't doing anything. I was just standing up there, but I just saw, it was just the love. It was just the pure love of God that I was just feeling. And I was looking at the faces, and the more I looked at the faces, the more it was just bubbling up in me. It was just the more I seen, that's why I was just looking around. And I was just in it, I just saw it. As soon as I looked around and saw another face and a smile, I'm just like, you got it, you got it, you got it, you got it. I look at another face and I see that smile. I'm like, you are the greatest. You are it. And it's just, I'm saying it in my head, but it's just like, you guys are. And it's just, I was so in love with you guys. I was just so in love with you guys, man. I guess it was coming out. I don't know. I guess it was coming out.
You know, that's, when I think about it, I think it's in 2 Corinthians 3. And it talks about we see dimly, but then we see face to face. We're looking as into a mirror, the glory of the Lord, and are being changed into the same image.
Wow.
And it's like when we're going through it and we think there's no purpose, we can't see each other. All we see is our dilemma. But when we realize that the brokenness had a purpose to bring forth this love, this gratitude, this thanksgiving, this vulnerability, the faces and the brokenness is beautiful. And I tell you what, there was a time I was embarrassed of my brokenness. Now I wear it as a trophy. Because what did Paul say? That when I am weak, the power of Christ rests on me, right? I will boast in my infirmities, right? And so now you had to leave, and I'm sure I know for us, everybody that left, we wept because we don't want nobody to leave. Can't we just get some land? Can't we just all, what I mean? And that's coming. We are going to get land. It's going to come together. And we're going to see this, not a cult land, obviously, but a land of freedom, a land to be together. And but when you flew out, what happened? What's happened since you've been back home? What's been going on? Because you had reached out saying all I see is the faces. And so tell us a little bit about. Take another 5 minutes and just share with us what's happened since you got back.
So when I got on the airplane, still thinking about everything. And it's like, as I sit back and, close my eyes, I see a face come. And when the face comes up, I mean, it's the brightest face. It's like I'm remembering the interactions that I didn't remember when I was having them. Like when I said they were loving me, telling me things, and I was still like, oh, okay. They came back to me, and the faces, like Jackie face, come up in my head, and it's just so full. I just see her smiling. I just see her standing there. You're gonna get blasted, and now I see it. And as she's saying it, the love is just coming off her face, and I'm crying like I love her so much. I love her so much. Like in every face, even if it was a small interaction, it just came back to me. The face of a child who just looked at me, it's like it came back like, oh my God. So it's just the love. Oh yeah. So it was beautiful. So I get back and I get picked up by my cousin, and he's been loving me on this journey. God has did something supernatural in us. It brought us together, and I'm 9 years older than him, and it's been God, the walk between me and him. He was the only one I had, and I'm telling you, he like, cuz I'm going with you. I know they reject you. I don't know. I'm going with you. And man, I got in the car with him. Started off so simple. Man, I'm seeing these. I told him the story. I'm seeing these faces, and it's like crazy. And I saw your face, and I just realized how much you love me, man. I see everything so clear now. It's like you love me so much, but I couldn't receive it. So I'm apologizing to him and talking to him, and he feeling it. He getting emotional. It's just coming and coming out. It's filling us up. It's filling us up. And it get to a point where I'm now prophesying to him everything that I just got because you love me that much. He's gonna do it to you triple time. And then he just go out in the spirit. And this is first time this is just happening with me and on purpose. And I don't know, it's crazy. And then he gave me such a special word. And he said, Darryl, remember, I went through it for you, but you went through it first for me. And I exploded. The love was just boom, boom. He put his hand on me, and mind you, he'd never done these things before. So it's like, what is happening, God? It's like automatic activation he just got. And I can't wait to hear his story because it's like, what happened? But it was just an explosion of love. He put his hand on me. I felt the love, power, and it was just so beautiful. God, it's one thing you said about people now that when that love comes to them, it's hard for them to receive. We were at Quick Trip, and I said, oh my God, I don't know what's going to happen. I go into Quick Trip, and I'm just so in love with everybody, so I can't even really contain myself. I'm just like, I love you, I love you. Oh, look at you. There you go, right there. He's the man. Oh, you got it. You got it. But then I leave because I felt weird, but I just was compelled to go back. And so happened I went back and bought a bottle of wine, red wine. So then it kind of hit me. I'm like, I got this new wine in my hand. Like, oh my God. So I'm in there. And I'm just sitting there, and the feeling is coming from me. I just feel it. So I don't understand it yet. So let me just stand here and just let it do what it do. And I hit the corner, and I see this guy, man. I see him, and I just yell, there he goes. That's him right there. I go over to him, and I'm just like, I know you. I don't know you. Yes, I know you. You got a good heart. I love you, man. You a good guy. Good guy. And he just got so offended, and he was just looking like, you don't know me, buddy. No, I don't know you. And I'm like, man, I maybe it wasn't you, but I know that you have a good heart, man. You are the guy. I love you, man. You so full of love. I'm not full of love. You don't know me. And then the girl that was with him, she was into it. She was looking at me, clapping my hand, like, yeah, yeah. So he leaves, and my cousin is with him, and he leaves the store, and he comes back and stands by the door. My cousin sees him. My cousin goes outside and talks to him. And then that's it. He comes back. But what my cousin tell me is, you know, this guy had a 666 on the back of his neck. He did crucifix tattoos. And when I went out there and talked to him, he said, I wish God loved me. So now I really understand that he was offended by the love of God, but it got him. It got him anyway. It got him anyway. And I know his life won't be the same. I know he probably went home and started. The God is on him now. It's over. And I love it so much, man. It's so beautiful, man. Oh my God.
Wow. Now, see, that to me, you can't contain it. I remember I think it was in Minnesota with our family in Minnesota. You got to meet Jen and Christy at the conference.
Yeah.
And they, I want to say the first year we went there in 2018, I want to say it was Jen's son that he had this encounter, and he was lifting his hands and yelling, it cannot be contained. It cannot be contained. And there had been an outpouring of glory when we were there in love. And it cannot be contained. And I'm telling you what, back in our religious days when we had our mixture and our religious words, those words return void. This realm cannot return void. It will overtake. It will overtake. Grace just said something here, and I was hearing this word earlier, so I'm going to put it up there. That's you. You are an apostle of love. And I was hearing that earlier, and as Grace said it, I just had to put that up there. You are an apostle of love, You are being commissioned in that. And you know, an apostle is not a title because we're not entitled. You're sent. In other words, you're in the right place at the right time with the right people that are going to be overtaken by love. And that man with the 666 on his neck, the Father is in him whether he knows it or not. And you come and you just woke him up to the reality of the Father, and it cannot be unheard. It cannot be taken away. He will be completely consumed by the realm of love, and you're going to at some point experience the fruit of those few interactions of love. I'm telling you, it was one drop of that love that you're carrying will consume a nation. And so it's already there. It's already there. And I bet you your wife is pretty happy about that love that's on you, right?
Yeah. I came in confessing my sins to her and telling her I'm so sorry. I couldn't see your love. I couldn't see it. Yeah, of course, she had the tears in her eyes because she's so beautiful and she knows I love her so much. I think she's watching now. And when you spoke that it's going to be like a new honeymoon, I mean, I love it. And I think, and it's so funny, you are a restorer of marriages, and we kind of needed some restoration. And I'm so thankful for you. And
Well, I thank you, brother. I'm thankful for you guys.
and one thing, when you said that apostle of love, this is so funny and amazing. I was sitting under the tent and I wrote down, "You are an apostle of love. Someone will confirm this. Who will it be?" I wrote it down because I wrote it down. Why? I wrote it down for the person who was going to tell me so they can be for sure to know that they are, that they are. That they are, and we are. And this is what I want to say. So this is what I get from this thing. What I saw in you, you saw in me. What you saw in me is inside of you. That's what I got out of this whole trip. And that is so beautiful. It's like whatever you saw in me, it's in you.
I totally believe that. In fact, that was the whole reason we gathered. It was all about reflecting that we are all one. And I'm telling you, that blows me away that you wrote that down because I had no knowledge of that. But I kept hearing it the whole time. And then as soon as Grace shouted it out, I'm like, all right, I'm saying it. So we agree. And I'll tell you what, I've been in this for a long time, you know, and so I'm glad I got to be a part of proclaiming that over you and to be a part of that. And so I just declare it over you. You're an apostle of love, and you are sent as Jesus is sent.
Amen.
And it's the Father in you that's going to begin to do works like you've never seen.
Wow.
And it's just going to blow you away. And we haven't gotten it set in stone yet. I don't know when we're going to do this. It's going to be next year at some point, but I've been waiting to do this for several years. And I believe my wife and I have enough fruit to do it now. And we are going to be at some point holding next year a conference retreat for marriages. And I'm going to make sure you and your wife are there.
Amen.
Okay, we will make sure your way is paid.
Thank you.
And and so we're going to do a weekend for marriages to break them forth into the depths of love, oneness, what I call the chocolate anointing, romance, and I tell you, I haven't gotten the privilege and honor of meeting your wife yet, but seeing her picture, I added her on Facebook today, seeing her picture, she is a warrior. She is someone, I can see her, and hopefully she's watching this because I'm just going to speak over her, what I've experienced of her just by looking at her face. And I saw, she is a determined warrior. She is your backbone. She has been the one that has upheld you. She has carried a level of security and a foundation of peace that has been a big part of your restoration. That whatever she has stood in the spirit for you as a consistent, faithful woman of God that has continually poured out grace. And it reminds me of my wife. She is the fruit of your life. She is the proof of the love of the Father in your life. And I have to relate my wife. If it wasn't for my wife, I would not be the man I am today. I would not be able to love like I love today. In my brokenness, when I tried to push my wife away the first year of marriage, first couple of years of marriage, she was determined to only see me as the Father saw me. I remember she says, Brian, I already have seen you in the Spirit. I don't care how much you act up, how much you push me away. I am going to continue to love you. I am going to continue to chase you down and saturate you with the proof that you are loved until you finally hear it and get it. And I'm telling you, that's your wife.
Wow.
That's your wife. And you know what? Neither one of our wives put up with it. They won't put up with the crap.
Not
they
at
will
all.
call us on our crap, but you know what? They're going to walk with us through it.
Yeah.
You know? And I'll tell you what, I am so glad that my wife does not bow down to my ego when I want to get away with stuff. She stands up and she says, hell no, we ain't going there. We're going here. And I just quickly, okay, honey, you got me on this one. And so I am so thankful that we both have wives that believe in who we truly are and is not going to back down and let us get away with lying to ourselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you guys are going to be at the forefront of this. And I believe that by the time we do this marriage retreat, you guys are going to be ministering with us.
Oof. Wow. Ooh.
It's going to be wonderful because you guys are going to have so many testimonies. Amen. How many on here watching would like to come to a marriage retreat with us and get totally saturated and enter a whole new realm of marriage? I tell you, I'm excited about it. The Father's been plotting this for a long time, planning this, plotting it, however you want to call it. I had a vision of this 2 years ago, and I'm telling you, some of the stuff we carry is, out there. And so a lot of the mainstream don't want it. They think it's scary stuff. So we might be having smaller crowds right now. But I'm telling you, the marriage thing, I saw it in mega churches. I saw thousands coming to these marriage connections and conferences. And so I know it's going to get big because of the fruit. And brother, you have a lot of fruit. We just happened to come in contact when it was harvest season with you, and we're just so thankful. I'm going to ask you because, I don't want this to go too long because I know a lot of people, I want people to watch this. But I want you to pray. If you have anything you would like to say, you can pray it, you can decree it. Anything you would like to say to everybody out there right now that is hurting, that was where you were at a year ago, that is afraid to open up and be loved, or maybe they're in a situation. I know some are on here going, I want what Darryl's got. And they're in that place where they're afraid or they don't know how to get love. What would you decree or speak over them right now that would encourage them to step into where you're at?
I would say it's happening. It's already happening. Anyone under the sound of my voice, oh, God loves you so much. He always have, always will. There's nothing you have ever done, nothing you have ever done that disqualifies you from the love of God. I've been on a road only to discover that there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. Whoo! There's nothing you can do. Whoo! To escape his love. No, there's nothing you can do. I'm telling you that there's nothing you can do. Oh, it's coming for you. It's coming for you. Because I've done nothing. I've done no thing. And I will dare that anyone have to pay for anything. I've done nothing for this. No thing. He done it all. He has prepared us to be loved by him. And this is time. This is the feast of love. This is the new wine. It's a wine and a drink of intoxicating love. And it's now. And it's going to bust out because it's going to bust out. And you said, I want what Darryl got. You got what I got. And I'm so thankful that you do. And it wouldn't and shouldn't be no other way, because I wouldn't want it no other way. You have to have the love of God. You have to see it. You have to taste it. And it's yours, and you're going to. You are going to. And that's just it. There's no way. It's done. I couldn't escape it. How can you? Whoa. It's yours. 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 Love, love, love. High, love, love, love. Oh, perfect love of God is yours, because you are the perfect love of God. We are the perfect love of God. It's inevitable. It's inevitable. There's gonna come a point of time, whenever it happens, that he's gonna just unveil. He's gonna just unveil. And that's it. And that's it. My time came. And I don't think I'll ever be the same again. And when your time comes, you won't either. You might say, I want it now. I wanted it now when I wanted it now. I wanted it then when I wanted it then. But it came now, and I'm so happy it came now, because it's so beautiful. And it means so much of what I walked through. It means so much, because I picked up so many things that I needed for the road. And you have to pick it up too. So don't worry if it's not. You got to pick it up too. And when the love of God comes sweeping through you, you're going to be like, this was the perfect time. So you have it. It's yours. It's yours. It's yours. You might think you're broken, or maybe you are broken. But the breaking opening is for the new wine and the glory to come forth. And that love that you have always carried to come forth, to come out. And it's yours. It is yours. It's yours.
See, now that's what I'm talking about right there.
Whew.
It's so true. And the fact that we're broken doesn't mean we can't receive love. It means that the brokenness is allowing love to break forth. You know, I heard somebody say, we're all cracked pots. We're all crackpots. And the cracks allows everything to pour forth. It allows the love to pour forth.
Yes. Yes.
And so, don't think that, being a crackpot means there's something wrong with you. It just means you're now available to pour forth.
Yes.
And let it out.
Yeah.
So, Father, we just thank you. I thank you for Darryl. I thank you for the love that he carries. I thank you for his marriage. I thank you for all that he is as this apostle of love. And Father, we just agree that in his neighborhood, in his family, this is just the beginning. His whole entire family line is about to be transformed. The whole entire city is about to be touched. That region is going to be hit with your glory. The churches he has been a part of are going to begin to experience the outpouring of the love of the Father that is flowing through his life. He is a testimony of grace. He is a reflection of the embrace of love. Father, turn him loose. We turn him loose in the region. We turn him loose to be a magnifier of the intentions of the Father, of the love of the Father. Father, we just commission him in the Spirit and agree. Father, Jesus would go to a region and he couldn't do any miracles because they didn't recognize who he was. We all come together and we recognize who you are in Darryl to break him forth with love following. The signs of love, the fruit of love is going to follow. It's going to follow because we believe in who you are, Darryl. The Christ in you can come forth. It can break out. We pull him forth out of you. We pull forth the divine masculine and feminine out of you to break forth in the language of love, the language of light, to be an echo of the sound of love. Everywhere you go is going to be a divine appointment. Everywhere you go. And I'm telling you, it isn't going to be long before you're not only on here doing videos all over the place, but you're gonna start to travel. The Father's going to open the door. And I'm telling you, mainstream churches are going to invite you to come and to give them the love. They're going to see it. They're going to see it and they're going to say, can you bring it here? And these are people that are stuck in doctrine, stuck in the hell doctrine. And you know what? You're not even going to have to address doctrine. So don't think that you have to be all prepared to know the doctrine, to have the right answer. Your call is about a demonstration of love. And that realm on you will melt doctrines off of people. It will melt conclusions. It will melt self-preservation. Because I'm telling you, you don't even have to have a vocabulary. You don't even have to know what to say. There's a realm on you to simply be in the midst and just start singing love. It's yours. You watch what breaks out. Keep it simple and just let it flow, because you're going to see a greater impact doing that than trying to be theologically correct or trying to explain anything. I'm telling you, we're done with information. It's time for demonstration, you know, and that's what you are. You are the cherry on top. You have been the Fam Bam. I'm telling you, if there was a mascot, you're the mascot. You have been the Fam Bam that you are now carrying the Bam, so that people can come back into the fam and they can realize they are loved. So I just love you, my brother. I am honored to know you. I know everybody that is connected with you and everybody on here is oohed and awed. You're now the superstar. And it's a good thing. So receive it.
I receive it. I receive it.
Because humility is you receiving love. That's humility. Yeah. See, people think they want to go, oh, it's not me, it's the glory of God. What do you think the Father says about you? The Father
Right.
is chasing you down, saying, it's all about you, son, in my eyes. Let's let the Father come and lift us up, and let's esteem others, and let's love. And so, brother, I just thank you so much for being on here with us and for taking the time. I know you're not used to being in the spotlight or
I'm not.
any of that, and that's not your intention or heart. And that's why you're in it, you know, because you're about the love. And I'm telling you, you got it, man. You've always had it, but now's the time to demonstrate it. So
I love you,
going,
man.
my brother. Keep in contact with all the people that you've connected with. And I'm telling you, just pour out, man, because you're fully received. You don't have to think about what you need to do or say. Just be. Be and pour. Be and pour. Be and pour. You know, and pour it out, man. And we will definitely be doing another update video soon. And I have a feeling you and Daniel Somerville is going to be doing some video as well. And I think other people are going to be going, can you do a video with me? I want to hear more about that. So just do it, man.
All right.
Just do it. It's your time. I love you.
Love
Thank
you
you,
too.
everyone, for coming on here and for being a part. And I'm telling you, the next Bam Bam, you're not going to want to miss. We're going to be doing it sometime this next year. We will announce it, the location, and all of that as it gets closer. But I'm telling you, each time it gets gooder and gooder, better and better. So get ready, and we will see all of you guys soon. I love you all. You have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you soon. God bless y'all, and have a nice afternoon. Bye-bye.
Love you guys.